from Radiant Heart Yoga here, sharing another practice with you. If you're new to yoga, if you're not sure where to start, if you want to take your practice to another level, if you want to watch tutorials on different poses, then click the subscribe button below. If you've any questions, if you've any comments, leave them below, and let's get practicing. Hi there, and welcome to this beginner level video practice, which is all about the second chakra in our series about the chakras. This chakra is called Swadhisthana chakra, and it translates to mean the sacral chakra, and that's all about its location. So it's located in the pelvic area, along the spine, so it's quite deep in, and about an inch below the navel. And its colour is orange. And as we've moved up from the root chakra, which is all about sort of our basic instincts, our fundamental energies and needs, this chakra is about our emotional needs and things like how we interact with other people, our relationships, our ability for being intimate. It's all related to that kind of thing, and it's all about the water element. So the first chakra is all about the earth element, and this is all about the water element. So as we move through the practice, we're going to be thinking about the qualities of water, of fluidity, of rejuvenation, of just flowing and rippling and undulating, and all of the sort of words and meanings that you can relate to water. So that's where we're going with the practice, and we're going to begin in a seated position. So just take a few moments. You're just going to rest your palms facing down, bring your index fingers and your thumbs together, just bow your head down. If you need to put any support underneath your knees or your thighs, if you need to elevate your hips on a blanket, please take any props and use them to modify this first pose in whatever way suits your body. And you're just going to drop your chin down, close your eyes, and you can always pause the video if you need to take a little bit longer to do this invocation and settle yourself into the beginning of your practice. Just take a few breaths, observing the quality of your breath. Using your exhale if you need to feel more grounded. So I'm exaggerating my exhale. I want to begin by connecting with that root chakra again, so that I know that I can move into the second chakra with that solid foundation and that really firm base and earthy quality at the beginning. And then you can keep your eyes closed or you can open your eyes, but you're just going to take your hands onto your belly and just feel the movement of your breath and visualize not just this chakra, this luminous sort of yellow glow of this chakra, not yellow, hope I didn't say yellow, orange glow of this chakra, you know, and you can't remember what you've said. And also visualize all of your internal organs floating around in this pulsing, moving internal fluid. And your internal organs, they love to have space, they love to move, and they automatically pulse and undulate and move around with the systems of your body. But we're going to give them that little bit more of a boost and some stimulation by increasing that with the movements that we take through the practice. So from here, opening your eyes and just bringing your hands back onto your knees. I'm going to remove the blanket from underneath me. And from here, similar, I think we did this in the, just get that out of the way, the earth chakra one, but from here, you're going to take your left hand behind you a little bit, and as you inhale, sweep your right arm up, anchor your right hip down, you can bend this left elbow, and then sweep around. So when we did it with the earth chakra, we were thinking about this connection down through the hips, through the fingers as they trace along the earth. What I want you to think about with this chakra is the fluidity of your movement. So when we're born, we're about 80% water, and then as we age, unless we keep ourselves really hydrated and we're moving in the kind of way that you do with yoga, then everything starts to dry out, and it begins like that process then of contraction, of sort of everything shrinking, and we want to create that space again. We want to create that juiciness to the body and to our movements. So just one more to each side. And back to centre. And then from here, you're going to switch the cross of your legs. And we're going to do some Sufi circles. So your hands are going to be back on your knees. And as you inhale, you're going to lift your chest and you're going to draw your chest forwards and around to the left. And then as you exhale, you're going to round. You're going to use your hands. You're pulling back, so it's a little bit of core work. And then the second part of your exhale around to the right. And then you're going to not necessarily speed it up, but you're just going to make it into a more fluid movement. So you're kind of rocking forwards and back on your sit bones, stretching the front of your spine as you come forwards in your circle, and then stretching the back of your spine as you go back. So you're inhaling through one half of your circle and exhaling through the other. And see if you can let your head be part of this movement. So you're not holding your head rigidly and resisting the movement with your head. And then start to circle in the opposite direction. You might find that this feels a little bit more awkward. We have one side that we tend to move in one direction preferably. So think about the movement of your pelvis. So you're tilting your pelvis forwards and back, sliding your sit bones forwards and back. So one more. Brilliant. And then from here, you're just going to roll all the way back onto your back and take your legs straight up in the air. So when I was doing my teacher training with my teacher Shiva Ray, she was the most amazing teacher at creating moods and feelings, and she was so focused on the chakras and how they could affect your practice. So I've remembered from when we had to learn all of these vinyasas, some of the movements from there. So what you're going to do is big breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to lift your head and shoulders and reach your arms up. And then instead of doing just pulsing, we're going to move in a much more fluid way. So you're going to start to tap into some of the other qualities of this chakra, which is not just fluidity in terms of movement, but fluidity in terms of your thoughts and your actions. So a lot of us get quite frustrated, and we may not even be conscious of it because we're not doing anything creative. Yeah, we're going to work, coming back, and unless we've got a job that allows us to express our creativity, then a lot of times that's getting repressed. So certainly in your practice, you're going to try and move, and even kind of sway a little bit side to side, and just find that creativity. But you'll notice that it is still a lot of work to stay up. Yeah, you're just doing it in a slightly different way, and then slowly come back down, hug your knees into your chest, and then you can rock up, keep the core bit going a little bit, or you can rock to the side and you're going to cross your ankles, or however you get onto all fours. And then from here we're going to do a similar movement to what we did when we were sat down, but you're going to start to circle your hips, and as you come over your wrists, you're going to make like a figure 8 pattern with your body. And it doesn't matter which direction you go in, just see if you can remember which one it is. And again, giving yourself permission to move in this very fluid way. And then the next time you bring your hips back towards your heels, you're going to slide this right arm back, and as you inhale, you're going to circle that arm forwards and then drag it back, opening up the space under your arm and into your armpit. We're going to do 3. One more, and then pulling back, and then from here you're going to slide this right arm underneath, and then as you inhale, you're going to open this left arm up, and as you exhale, you're going to wave it back down, and then inhale, rolling back, and exhale. I've not got really the right hairstyle for this, but if you want to kind of roll back with your head a little bit as well, and then press yourself back up, and you're going to start to circle in the opposite direction. And again, this might feel a little bit weird going the opposite way. We tend to have a preference even if we're not aware of it. And the further you come over your wrists, the more upper body strength you're going to develop. And 2 more, so getting ready at the end of your next figure 8. To keep your hips back towards your heels, slide your left hand back, inhale, coming over, reaching, and then pulling back, inhale, and pulling back. One more, inhale, and exhale, and then thread this arm through. Pull my hair out of the way, and then inhale, rolling. So sometimes it's nice to take this foot out to the side, just gives you a little bit more space, and you're going to wrap that arm back, and then inhale, rolling open, exhale, coming back, and again inhale, rolling open, and exhale, coming back, pressing back up, keeping your knees underneath your hips, bringing your arms forwards, and rather than like we did when we're staying close to the earth, we're just focused on getting our chest down towards the floor. What we're going to do now is keep lifting the sit bones up, but we're going to undulate through the spine. So this movement is quite difficult for people to get into when they're not used to doing it, but once you start doing it, it's like your body instinctively recognises the movement patterns, because we all came, originally from the sea. And this movement is the kind of movement that fish make. We used to have a tail as well, that, as they ripple through the water. Good. And then from here, you're going to ripple your way all the way forwards. And then you're going to bring your hands so that they're either side of your ribs. And you're going to roll into your cobra, coming up and down, like waving up and down. And making that figure 8 pattern with your head and shoulders that you were doing before. In any way, again, be creative. And then come all the way down. Extend your arms out. Feel that connection through the earth. And then visualize that you're floating above the earth, maybe on a raft. Just allow your body to gently sway as if you're being moved by the ripples in the water. And then sliding your hands back, and you're going to press yourself up onto all fours and straight into some very fluid cat and cow movements. And you can just adjust your position as you move in, just to make sure that your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. And you can curl your toes under as you round your spine, and then tops of your feet down as you arc. Just one more. And then from here, walking your hands around to the left and stepping your right foot forwards. And straight away we're going to pick up this left knee. So if you need a couple of bricks underneath your hands as we frame this right foot, to make sure that you're not dumping into this right thigh, you can do that. And then as you inhale, you're going to drop your hips and lift your chest. And as you exhale, you're going to round. So it's like a pulse. Inhale, drop your hips, lift your chest, exhale round. So you're trying not to move your hips too much. You're trying to keep the movement. So I'm pushing back through my left heel, forwards through my right shin, pushing the floor away as I round. So I'm pushing my fingers forwards, and then as I undulate the other way, I'm pulling my fingers back. So one more. And then keep your left hand down. Inhale, reach your right arm up. So this is like we did that twist before. And exhale, wrap it underneath. So again, it's a really fluid movement, but I'm keeping a really solid foundation. Oh, one more. And then lowering your right hand down, left knee down, sliding this knee back. And then from here, we're going to circle the pelvis. So this is very similar to what we did with our Sufi circles. the beginning and then going in the opposite way. And what we did when we were circling the hips, but we're trying to isolate it more just to be the movement of the pelvis. And then walking your hands to the right if you need to, stepping this left foot forwards. Same thing on this side, pick up your right knee. And then your feet are hip width apart, you're on your bricks or you're on your fingertips on the floor, and you're pushing your left shin forwards and your right heel back. And then lift your chest, big breath in. And as you exhale, round, drop your chin, pulsing, waving, undulating in your lunge. One more. And then right hand down. And you're coming into your twist, so you're going to inhale. Open your chest up. Exhale, wrap as if you're hugging this left thigh. So this is that connection with yourself, with the intimacy with yourself. You know, often forget about that. Exhale, coiling in. Inhale, expanding open. Exhale, wrapping it. One more. And exhale back. And then lower your right knee down. Slide your left knee back. Right hand down, Sorry. And then walk your hands forwards. And you're going to pick up your knees and you're going to press yourself back to your downward facing dog. So we are moving a little bit quicker in this fluid flow than we do sometimes. So if it's too fast, just stop, have a little rest, pause your video. So from here, you can stay in your downward dog and reconnect with the earth, or you can start to really connect with the water element in your down dog, and you're going to ripple forward. So this is rounding your spine, so it's very, very similar to what we've been doing. And then you're going to bend your knees and you're going to lift your hips up and back, and then rounding forwards, and you're trying to bring as much movement through your spine as you can. And it doesn't need to be massive movement. It's all going to depend on your fluidity and your mobility. And then from here, keeping like a little bit of a sway through your body, just going to start to walk your hands and feet towards one another. So very slow. And then from here, just bending your knees and just tracing like a figure 8 pattern, this shape of infinity, which is important in the yoga tradition. Just making that figure 8. And then from here, you're going to slowly roll all the way up to stand. Ooh. And then from here, straight into some side bends. So your left hand's going to slide down your left leg, and you're going to arc your right arm over, and then you're going to circle your hands down and around, up the other leg, and then back down. So you're moving sort of like in a semicircle on each side. Keep that really solid foundation. So no matter whether your fingertips touch the floor, and then come all the way up and bring your palms in front of your chest. And then you're going to step back, and I'm just going to step this way. Whichever way means that you can, get a good view of what we're doing. And then from here, you're going to turn your heels in and your toes out. So we're going to come into like our horse stance, our Swadhisthana stance, so bending your knees. So we connect with the earth element, so drop your roots down through your feet, drop your tailbone down, get really solid, pull the energy, draw it up through your legs from your feet. And then we're going to do this figure 8 movement with the arms. So each arm is going to be doing a figure 8, but they're going to be crossing over. Can you see? It's like taking a jumper off and then putting it on the floor. Taking a jumper off and then shaking it off your hands. Yep. But you're still getting all the way through. You're still getting this amazing strengthening work in your legs. A couple more times. Just making it doesn't have to look exactly the same as my movement. And then from here, you're going to start to bend one knee. So it's like Swadhisthana, yeah? Well, you don't need to, you're not lifting onto your heels. So we're not doing this, although you can if you want to, but because you're moving really fluidly, it's good to have both feet firmly planted. Okay, and then you can bring that same figure 8 movement with your hands into it. And you can even come, low enough to trace your figure 8 on the floor. So we're not doing a ton of, standing poses because we're going to put these fluid movements into our standing work. So, and you can pick the pace up or you can slow it down. You're just looking for that connection to your own fluid movement. And then from here, you're going to come back to your horse stance. Ooh, bit of paper. And you're going to take your hands and interlace them behind the back of your head. So this will be your inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to circle your right elbow down towards your right knee and then around to your left knee and back. And then making that. And it doesn't matter whether you reach your knee. It's not about the depth with the poses. It's about making sure that you're aware of what you can feel. You're responding to that. So this is quite a strong movement. You're going to switch directions now. The left elbow comes down first, then the right, and then circle back up. And you can make your circles a lot smaller. It's beginner level practice. Let's not, forget that. Just one more. So you're really feeling it in the legs now. Coming back up and then straightening my legs, reaching my arms out, and a little sway again. And then I'm going to start to come into my forward fold. But as I come down, I'm just going to start to sway. And it doesn't matter whether you can get your fingertips to the floor, but you're going to start to trace that figure 8 pattern with your fingers, whether that's in the air. Drop your head down. But this time you're keeping your legs straight. And then as you come over your right leg, you're just going to pause. And then as you come over your left leg, it'll stretch. And then from here, you're going to come to the center, plant your fingers, and then just heel toe your feet in. And if you want to get a blanket to put underneath your heels at this point, you can. We're going to come into Malasana, But we're going to do a moving Malasana. So you're just swaying side to side. You're still using your elbows to press your inner thighs and your knees back, but it's a much more fluid movement. Good, and then sit down. And you're going to take your legs out into a straddle. So it's the same thing that we just did, but now we sat down. So in our Upavishtakonasana, and of course, if you're tight in the backs of your legs or if you're tight in your hips, then please elevate your hips up on your blanket. You can even have a cushion underneath your knees so that your knees are relaxed. And you know, if your knees are bending because of the tension in your hamstrings. And then what we're going to do is the same thing. So we're going to ripple side to side. And what I want you to think about as you move, let your head be part of the movement and find almost like a twist as well. And notice as you move whether you start to come lower. So this is a way that I find is really helpful for people that are very, very tight in their legs and their hips, is to use these fluid, sort of undulating, swaying movements to get your body used to opening up and not tensing up when you do it, when you do the stretches, so that your focus is on the movement and it's almost like your legs start to open without you really being too conscious of it. And then just pause for a breath or two. So you might be still up here, yeah, your movement might be here, and then your forward fold, is going to be high, or maybe you're going to have your elbows resting on a brick, just for a couple of moments. And then you're going to walk your hands back and you're going to draw your knees in. So you'll be facing the front of your mat at this point. No, you won't. You'll be facing the side, won't you? So if you bring yourself back to the front of your mat, and then from here, you're just going to start to lower yourself down and then lift your feet off the floor and maybe just a few fluid movements. So you're coming to a little bit of core work. So it's like we did before, and you might be able to kind of rock yourself up and down. And so it's like we did before when we were doing that core before. You're just a little bit lower and then come all the way down. And you're going to bring your right knee in towards your chest and extend your left leg out. And then you're going to shift your hips to the right and roll this right knee across to the left. And then you're going to use a circular movement with your arm. So again, using that fluidity of when you move in the pose. But I am actually, this circle, it's not like, you know, I'm just waving my arm around. This does serve a purpose. So as I come up over the crown of my head, I'm reaching this top hip and my fingers away from one another. And then as I circle out to the side, I'm letting this right knee drop and I'm stretching my right arm out, so that the movement actually helps me to come deeper into my twist. So I'm just going to do one more circle. And you can keep your arm over the crown of your head, or you can take it out to the side. And just be still for a few breaths. onto your back, switching sides. So left knee draws in, right leg extends out, and then I'm going to shift my hips over to the left so that I can drop this left knee over to the right, and you can have something underneath your knee like we usually do. And then I'm going to start my circles. So I'm circling so that I'm not going this way, because that's not going to help me to reach this arm out. So I'm circling the way that I want my body to open. So this is the opening that I want. Yeah, and then so I'm going to circle back down. And then as I come across, now I start to pull this left hip, this top hip, down as I reach my left fingertips. Because this is where the stretch is going to happen. And then I'm reaching the left fingertips out and anchoring this right knee. Left knee even. Down and then around. Okay. So a couple more times, and I can feel these movements work really well for me. Because I'm not naturally flexible, and because I've got to admit, find it really hard at first to let myself move fluidly. I was very tense and very, holding myself very, very rigidly, and it takes time. It'll feel really weird if you've not done anything like this before, and not every practice is like this, but if it helps you, then it's definitely worth learning, and you can put that into your own work, into your own practice, so that you can stay more open and not lose your mobility and your flexibility as you move through your practice. And then just a couple of breaths here in stillness. And then slowly roll onto your back, and just take just a couple of moments here just to let the back of your body reconnect with the earth, to feel that sense of stability and foundation. Again, you can pause and take longer here, but we're going to roll to the side and come up to a seat again, propping yourself up so you're nice and comfortable. And then we're going to go back to where we began, and you're going to bring your hands over this chakra, drop your chin, settle into your seat. We're just going to do a short meditation on this chakra. So once you get settled, start to even out your breath, slow your breath down. And then picture underneath your hands, deep in your body, along the spine, this luminous, orange, shimmering lotus flower. Sacral chakra, this lotus flower has 6 petals. Visualize each time you inhale, visualize the petals fluttering open to receive, and as you exhale, they close back in to seal everything in. So your inhale opens up these beautiful, richly coloured orange petals, and then your exhale lets them flutter back towards one another, sealing all of the healing in. And think about your relationship to the qualities that this chakra invokes. Whether you have an outlet for your own creativity or not, whether you like one or not, maybe that's a little seed that you can sow and allow it to grow and evolve. Think about your relationships and how you interact with the people that you love, and then with people around you, and then with yourself. If we're struggling to interact with ourselves in an authentic and honest way, then we're probably going to be finding any kind of social interaction very stressful and very challenging. So it all begins with the self, of finding yourself and really being able to start to know your purpose. What do you want? What can you give? How can you serve? And I'm going to invite you to stay here for as long as you would like to, thinking about, visualizing this chakra Swadhisthana. And when you're ready, you're going to slowly bring your palms together, and we're going to end our practice by chanting the seed, the bija mantra, the seed sound vam for this chakra. So you're going to take a big breath in. Vam. Bringing your thumbs to your third eye, lifting your head, keeping your eyes open. Namaste. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide, for sharing this practice with me, and I'll see you on the next video for our third chakra.